people who come into the city and don't want to explore the city. All they want to do is dig a hole somewhere. And you know what they do? They get everybody to dig a hole with them. And then the mentality is just digging. No. My point is that I don't know where I'm going to go. But I know that if I'm in a corporation with 100,000 people, I know there's places to go. But when I'm in a corporation with a bunch of immigrants, okay, with 10 people, and you know what they're doing? They're playing dirty, cheap. I don't even care about that. There's no income. And once it's in a... No, I don't know what I can do. That's the whole point of that. When I was in the company, I knew what I can do. But the company was limited. Only had 100 people, and I can't go anywhere. I'm at that top already. Even. And once I improved that, then I was just sitting around thinking, like, what do I do now? Because the company couldn't grow anymore, and I didn't want to do that anymore because I didn't know how to do it. But there's no other position to move to. Own it. Like, there's no other position to go to. See, that's why I got messed up from the beginning, is I kept going to a company where, if it's like going to a kindergarten class, and the kindergarten teacher says, oh my God, you're so much smarter than the other kindergarten kids. That's great. I'll give you a word. But if I had walked into a university with professors, and then they're like, oh, well, you know what, so you're not as smart as you could be, so come here, there's another position, and there's another position. There's nowhere to grow. You're not getting my point, is that when I go to work with and trust me, this happens with everyone. Once they get into a job and they get used to the income, they kind of got to get used to it and never move on. They never move on. People get stuck. Yeah, but I'm not. If my job, if the guy who took my job in the last job was 50 years old, the reason he took my job because he was a better bullshitter, but he knew how to machine to some extent. That's all that matters. It's not like I'm doing anything high tech here. In fact, the job that I'm doing would be even more useful to the AI world without being a programmer, because there's a dime a dozen programmers. There's a million of them now. In fact, there's so many of them, they don't need any of them. In fact, the AI is going to start programming itself that they don't even need those guys. So, but okay, whatever. I'm just saying that everybody who is now being born is going into the AI, and everybody who's losing their job is going into AI. So everybody's just going into the same thing. I just watched a documentary recently, and my point is that I'm in a field where AI can't do that because it's delicate handling. Yeah, look, I'm just saying that once I make my resume, I'm going to send it out to every big corporation in the world. And if they don't like me, they don't like me. They like me, they don't like me. I'm not really getting into the company because I'm good at what I do, like technically, but I'm good at like advertising. I'm like the kind of person who can sell their company to people who don't want to buy it, and I won't feel guilty. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm like the perfect corporate person. Like, I can, you know, the qualities of a person depends on what a person who has different qualities will make it in a certain corporation, and people who don't have that quality won't make it in that corporation. It might not have nothing to do with science, because science is getting boring now. The world doesn't really care for it, because science is getting so advanced that it's leaving everyone behind. So just like religion is dying because of science, you know what science does? It corrects religion. Religion gets it, and so what's happening? Okay, yeah. I'm talking about just like I'm trying to have a hard time explaining this to you. Don't think about it technically, like the guy who's crunching the numbers, or the guy who's calculating with, you know, all the geeks sitting in the room and making the world happen. No, I don't want to be them. I just want to be the guy who say, hey guys, what are you doing? Well, get back to work, but hurry up, man. No, like I'm the kind of guy who wants to work with them. They're like, okay, we have a problem in Syria. What should we do? And I just bomb them. Like, you know, the guy who makes the big decisions. You know, I'm like, back to the point. You know, why do we need to get rid of these people in Syria? Well, we want to put up our corporations there, and we're having a hard time with the oil and this and that. Well, I go, look, you just shut off the media and just go do what you gotta do. Like, you know, that's the kind of decisions I want to make. Because I don't have time for some countries don't want to catch up in the world. I just don't have time for these people. You know, do you understand what kind of jobs I want? Too, and they're like, oh, we can't do this. But the world hasn't been fixed yet. So my job is to like fix the world. How do you incorporate the world into the best type of system that's existing on the planet? Maybe Sweden has it. Maybe Canada has it. I don't know. But whichever the best system is. And then after that system is implemented, go to the next phase. And the next phase. You know, incorporate. Why do I need to know how AI works when AI knows how it works? And I just need to incorporate it with him. That's all you need is a language. It's a delegate. You just want to be a delegate. No, those are see, my qualities are instinctive, completely instinctive. Let me tell you something. And because when they're instinctive, You have to be on the field. Like, I can't talk about war unless I'm on the war zone. And, I see bullets flying and, terror is going through my body, and my body's saying, holy shit, I never experienced this before. Now I have new thoughts I never had before. You can't get certain thoughts in your head by reading them. They have to be in the field. They have to be experienced. And a lot of people don't understand the value of instincts. Your reasoning comes from your instincts. Your reasoning doesn't come from you could read a whole bunch of stuff, it might not make any sense to you because there's no experience that allows you to understand those writings. You can read some stupid scientific text, but that's different. That's just memorizing codes. But what I'm talking about, if you're reading a philosophy book that's deep and it's talking about things that you've never experienced, how would you have to go and experience them in order to understand them? Your instincts are very powerful. I can't work for the military-industrial complex and you have to get into a company that has levels. If there's a million people working in a company, you start at the janitor position and people will get to know you. If they like you, they'll keep pushing you up the ladder. If you are not likable, they might not care about if you're the smartest guy on the planet. But they don't need the guys, say for example, who are doing they want the smartest guy on the planet, but they don't want the guy who's doing the technical part because they have enough of them. They want someone who can actually do something with this stuff. It's hard to explain what I'm saying to you. I mean, like when you watch movies, they're not fake. They exist in the world somewhere, but we don't know where they exist. Most of these movies are existing in someone's life. And what we're doing is living our own little movie and projecting ourselves from such a lack of experiences. The only way you can actually grow is to get into the field and work your way up. In fact, the worse you're off, the better you're going to know. But you can't just stick in one position. If you stick in one position and you know everything, then you're stagnating. What you want to do is keep moving up as you get smarter. And if you don't have the mind to get smarter, it doesn't matter how big the corporation is, you're still going to lose. But your mind can develop. If you already have a mind that develops all the time, you can't sit in a small company, otherwise you're not going anywhere. You sit behind a desk, you're not going anywhere. You're just consuming the same thing that you do. You have to actually, the mind is already there on the knowledge, but where's the body? The body is just sitting in isolation and safety and security. It doesn't need to it's falling asleep. The body has to wake up so that the reasoning that the knowledge that you gain actually it works with it. But I don't know if people understand what the body can do because they never put themselves in bad situations. You know when they call you for the military and they say be all that you can be? They literally mean that. Mean that when your body gets terrorized, it wakes up. It sees things that you cannot otherwise see. Trust me, and the guy with the intelligence and who goes through that are the guys who make it to the top. You know, the guys who are the Ministry of Defense, the presidents, the big boys, like, I'm not saying all presidents, but like the military defense and all the generals and all that. The generals didn't get from private to general because they just stuck around long enough. No, because they went through the shit, and then they had the knowledge to go ahead further even. They were able to make the plans and strategies and win wars. They can't just like, oh, I'll be a soldier and I'll win the war. I'll go to war on the trenches when you command me, officer. I got rushed to get a job. And at the same time, I was rushing myself because I like to have money in my hand because I didn't want to sit at home. So I took the first job. Of course, but you look at the task I'm telling you. It's basically the way I'm talking. I'm not going in there doing any task because you're talking about crunching numbers, and I'm talking about being a priest. You know, priests make it in the corporations higher than anyone. Why? Because they're bullshitters. And the corporations are what? And corporations are bullshitters. They happen. Most of the stuff at the top level, there's nothing accomplished. It's just politics. You know what politics is? The politics is to keep the great majority at the bottom. Your job is only one job the masters have. To make sure that slaves don't go up. They don't get education. They don't learn. That's what I want to do. If I was going to create a new system, let me tell you something. If I see a new system developing, and I see AI taking over, we have all this mass unemployment, what my job would be how do I control all these animals? They are animals, because once they lose their jobs, they're going to become violent and criminals. My job is, as a society, as a political person, say, okay, we can't eliminate them, we can segregate them, or we can maybe put certain things in their food supply so that they don't think too much. Things like those decisions I want to make. Those things that you can't learn that. That's through step by step. You move along. You see the situation that's happening in society, and you fix the problem. If you could fix the problem by by passive means, then I'll do passive means. But if it seems like we have no choice because what's going to happen later on will be so bad that I have to nip things in the bud right now, that's what you do. That's why politics is politics. Politics isn't run by the guys you see in politics. They know nothing about how the world works. All they know is how to control the people at the bottom to delegate them where the problem is. Okay, you three guys go over there and fix that problem. And those three guys have no idea what the game is. They're just the guy technicians. And they fix this and that. So you need people in my job. If I work for a corporation, it'd be the same idea. Because corporations want to expand. So if I went to the CEO and said, look, I have a great idea about expanding our company to Indonesia because there's a place there, we can exploit these people over in the sweatshops. We can reduce our costs and reduce our competitors. You can't learn that shit unless you're in the corporation. That's not a low-level job. It's a job at the corporate level. And the only way, if I was working for a company who had 100 employees and I'm like, you guys want to expand? No, we just expanded recently and our debts, we're having big debt and we can't, I don't want to work here. No, I want to work for a company that can't go anywhere. You see what I'm saying? That my job, the kind of job I want is not only if I ever get it, but if I don't get it, it's not a big deal. But my point is, at least I want to work in a corporation where there's 100,000 people working there. And I can honestly just make out a resume and give it out to as many corporations as possible and tell them that these are all the different qualities I have. I don't just have one quality where I can do technical stuff, because they don't want technical people anymore, most of these big corporations. Most of the people just sitting around doing shit. They're eating up the money from the idiots at the bottom because the mules, I call them mules because they are mules. They just don't get it. They work hard, but they don't get anything. I don't have experience. That's why I'm going to be a janitor in the biggest corporation on the fucking planet first. You just don't get in my picture here. You're not getting my picture here. Because the minute you get into a corporation, there's job listings all day long. You go, oh, you're an engineer. Then why are you working as a janitor? You find that way. That's the whole part. That's the interesting part of it. Oh my God. You're not thinking the backstab anyone. You're not thinking about that. You're just thinking, okay, who do I need to talk to next so I can move up? Maybe I'll go follow him to where the bar is, where he drinks on the CEO. And then, hey. And then he talks up a conversation. I know the whole game plan. I'm playing the priest level. And by the time he knows that he's already attached to me, he needs me. Then he goes, oh, you work for my company? I never know. Okay, well, you know what? Come by my office. I want to talk to you about certain things because I like some of your ideas. You have to be smart in this world if you want to get to the top. Everybody wants to stay at the bottom. They get to the bottom and stay at the bottom. That's all they care about. They pay their bills. They get everything to that. They want to live long and they want to prosper in that way. I'm not interested. Yeah, well, but the thing is, of course it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault that a person falls into a certain trap. You know why? Because look at the people they associate with. And if they don't have this, you know what? If you don't have the ability to dare yourself, to force yourself to go and do things you don't want to do. Those people want to do things they never go anywhere because they don't want to go through that door, which everybody says you're not supposed to go through that door. The person who goes through that door finds out there's nothing scary there, and his nature changes along the way, and suddenly he adapts to a new environment. And the problem is that people don't adapt to a new environment because they're trying to make it safer and easier. They're not trying to make it harder and dangerous, adventurous. Like if somebody goes, you want to go hunting to get King Kong from the island, and 99% of people don't say no right off the bat because they don't want to see no big scary monster. But a few people say, you know what? I'll give it a shot. What the hell, man? Maybe many reasons. Maybe he needs a job because it pays a little bit, or maybe he just wants to get the hell out of here because he gets food at least, or maybe he gets to see adventures. And he goes, look, all you can be like the guy who joins the military. He might not join it because he cares about the military. He might not even know what the hell they're fighting over. They might not even know what country they're going to, or what the hell's going on. All he cares is that he wants to get the hell out of where he was because he wants to be all that he can be because he knows from an early age that whenever he was in a state of terror or fear or anxiety, that it might have hurt for a while, a year or two, and then afterward he felt stronger, and then he thinks maybe I should go to the military and get even more stronger. And as he gets, yeah, because his qualities are simple. He knows nothing technical. He has no interest in technical. You know why he climbed up there? Exactly what I'm telling you right now. Is that his ability to talk and almost make it seem like he's always genuine, which he is very genuine. So this is why he's doing so well, because he is genuine. Because he hung around with me, and I told him always to be honest. Don't shy away from. Don't have shame. Don't comp. Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know what I'm gonna do. All I know is when I make my resume, when I get a job, when I just listen to these guys. You're not getting my point. I don't know. The corporations are getting bigger and bigger. There's gonna be less and less corporations in the world, and we want to get into them. It's like a country now. It's like I want to immigrate to England. Somebody, and so why would you want to go immigrate to the shittiest place on the planet when you get a job working in a small factory? This is where you start. You know what? This is how your dad had the same mentality as you have, and it's like stay small, secure, and don't go out there too much because there are bad people out there. I don't have that feeling. I don't think there are bad people out there. I think people are just people. I think we label it in our head and then we believe it. Because you're not doing what you're really interested in. You're doing what you've been conditioned to do, or what you've been what your academic field was. That's what you study. So now you've been that, and you hold on. Okay, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying science in particular. Maybe you were never meant for science. Maybe you were probably meant for art from the beginning, and you never even knew it. You never nurtured it. You don't know what. Maybe you were born for studying in the medical field. Maybe you would have been an excellent doctor because it might be perfect for your emotions, or a psychologist or whatever, or a clinical psychologist. You don't know what you could have been, but you're stuck as a scientist. And I don't care what field of a scientist. You're making things, you're making inventions and toys and weathers and algorithms. It's just technical, and you're getting sick of it because that's a phase. Okay, but my point is that you're getting. Maybe you would have been. Maybe here, look. Maybe you're better off a hands-on. So you know how you sometimes like fixing up the house. Maybe if you were making robots, maybe you might be a programmer too, but that's not what's important to you. But they're designing how these robots will move like humans. Maybe that would have been more interesting to you. You don't know. Things you'll never know because you're not going to go to these corporations and actually work in each. Say you worked in the top 100 corporations for a month each month. Trust me, you'd know where you want to go in life because you'll know out of these top 100 companies which company is actually the one you want, and which company has the most potential, and it's geared towards your talents and interests. If you're not interested in a job, you're not going to do the job. You're going to feel like you're a slave at the job. You're going to feel miserable. So what you really need to do is first of all, get out there and find out all the different types of jobs and find out what you really want. It's almost like you're in high school and you still have guidance counselor hasn't figured out what you're good at. And you haven't really figured out what you're good at because you haven't explored every other option. You have to go and explore. Maybe you might be better off working at NASA and at the space shuttle. I don't know. Maybe you might actually be an Indiana Jones and become an archaeologist looking for some kind of new material or artifacts. I don't know. You don't know what you want to be yet. The thing is, you're just stuck in one place and you're not even getting out of the house. Your body hasn't had any changes in life. If you stay in the house, what's going to happen is that your body's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker, safer, more comfortable, more weaker, more safer, more comfortable, and you know what's going to happen eventually? You're going to be sick just by being you. Being the you are. Not the you could be. I have qualities. I know I'm a priest. You know what? I lived in a temple when I was a kid, but I'm not one of those priests who actually enjoys what the priest does. I just know what he does, and I know his game. Of course, the game, and the game is. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. But the point is that he has the quality to get his way all the way to the top of the Vatican, to be the king of the fucking world. He owns the world. He controls millions. He controls billions of minds without even knowing them. That's genius, I say. That's what makes priests amazing, is that they can control the entire city and how they believe and what they believe in, their moral values, their religious values. The priest is more powerful than anyone. And you know what? The CEO is kind of like a half priest, half businessman. He doesn't know nothing in the corporation. He doesn't see one idea. The corporations are in third world countries making the products. He has no idea the science behind it. He has no interest in it. Who gives a shit? He doesn't even care about even the marketing strategy. He just cares at the end of the line, hey, are we making money or not? Good. So I can go back to my yacht with my boys and my parties, and I can enjoy my life. And that's all he cares about. And why should he care about anything else? And the priest is exactly the same thing. He makes it to the top. He says if he memorize, he's a smart person. I would say a priest is a genius, because the game of seduction and deception is probably the hardest game on the planet, and we know that. And that's what I'm just saying that in a corporation there's far more opportunities. Far more opportunity. You go out and work at a lemonade stand, a hot dog stand. That's all you're gonna get at. And if it's not your own, that doesn't make any sense. If you're gonna open up a hot dog stand, knock yourself out. Gives you an income, but it's your own. But if you're working for someone who owns a hot dog stand at minimum wage, how much are you gonna earn from that? And what's your next position? The owner? Kill him? That makes no sense. What you want to do is work for a corporation with 100,000 people, so you can prove that you're better than the first 50,000. And then you can prove in the next 50,000 you're better than the next 25,000. And in the next 25,000 you're better than the next 12,500. And you get my point, all the way up to the top. And at the end there's only like 50 people at the board top, and you could be sitting there one day. Why? Because it's not your qualities about whether or not the products coming out of Indonesia or Bangladesh is good or not. That's other people's problems. Your problem is at the top, trying to say, hey, you know what? I want to make sure that our competitors in Japan and in Germany doesn't go ahead of us. I want to make sure that we expand our business to Africa and utilize all their resources before those guys utilize the resources. And I want to set up a marketing plan in these countries that have a high population, but there's tons of consumers to get. So we want to open up a shop over there. It's not going to cost that much because we're already doing well. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't do that unless you go into the biggest corporations in the world. And they don't need technicians anymore. What they need is guys who know how to play the priestly game. The priest is coming back in power soon. I guarantee you that. Not in the sense he's gonna in the old ways, in the oldest ways. The priest was the most valuable person, because when we live in a society in the beginning of in the pre-civilization area, when the prehistory of mankind, when everybody was just savages. They were cavemen and they tried to congregate into cities. The priest was the most valuable person because everybody was robbing and stealing and raping and murdering once the sun went down. Okay? There was no moral values at the time. There was no such thing. Even before the Ten Commandments, there was no thou shalt not kill either. In fact, the Egyptians believed in a God that was completely the opposite of the kind of God that we believe in today. They believed in slavery. They believed in the master superior race. And you know what? That's how those were the corporations then, and then later on our societies changed to accommodate the type of people we have now. But those people can never make it. They're the great majority of herd that can never make it to the high level of position, because the guys who own the world now are the same type of people that owned Egypt. Okay, but you understand that, right? Idea, you just need balls. And you work with the problems that come with you as you move on in life. If I'm talking about 10 days from now this situation is going to happen, let me prepare for it. Why? Why don't you keep moving through life? You'll be prepared all the time because it's real. You'll experience it. When you experience real things, you will actually be prepared. You will learn along the way, and when you fail, you'll learn more. And the more you fail, the more you'll learn. Because when you fail, you correct yourself. And you can't correct yourself if you didn't experience anything. Because you don't know what to correct. The only way to correct something is to be in the field. I can't be a soldier in the military, and then I'm like, I'll worry about how to kill my enemy when I get there. I don't need to learn how to use the gun. I don't need to. Just leave me alone right now. I'm on the battlefield now. I'm trying to figure out how the gun works now. I'm not prepared. I'm trying to figure out. I haven't gone through battle training. I haven't done anything. It just doesn't make sense. You can't be in the battlefield as a top soldier if you haven't trained to be a soldier. You have to train your way. And the only way to train yourself is to put yourself in that situation. Yeah, you have to put yourself in that situation. If you can't think, what am I going to do when I get there? What am I going to do? Just get there. Just get there. And they're all humans. People are humans. Don't think that, oh my God, when this guy comes to me, he's like some guy. He might have more money than you, but doesn't mean he has more mind than you. Knowledge doesn't come through money. Knowledge comes through the opposite of money. Being poor, being a slave, being at the bottom, suffering, having the brain go through stress all the time and think rationally. And then, I don't care if you're the prime minister of the country, I don't care if you're the president, I don't care if CEO. When I talk to him, he'll know that he's talking to the Pope. I'm the Pope. That's how I think. I'm the Pope. These people have beliefs. But they're my beliefs. I program them. I make them think. So the thing is that, and when you get to these top levels, you have to think rationally, because we live in a rational world. And all you have to do is work with the boys and do what they want. What do corporations want? Expansion, growth, high profits. Well, just keep those three things in your head, and then deal with people. You don't need to have to know everything about the corporation. You just have to know what the man wants. The man wants power. He wants more power. How do you give him more power? And if you give him more power, he'll want you with him, because you're the man who gives him power. And if you work, every single institution, whether it's financial, corporate, military, it doesn't matter which corporate institution, education, they all work to be number one in their field. And yes, they don't want to work. They want to be number one, but they have to work to get there. And the guys who are already there, but they don't have the mind for it, you help them along. You help them along, they'll help you along. Yeah, but you just have to use your mind. And people, don't think like a slave where your physical work means anything. It means nothing in this new world. It means shit. Nothing. What if you don't have a mind? A priest is worth more in this new world than you could imagine. That's why, trust me, you might hate priests. I don't hate priests. I just want to learn from them. Because how do they get their power so much? Because there's so many herd followers. If you're the one guy who doesn't want to follow and there's 10,000 other guys who want to follow him, you lose. You got no one following you back because you ain't got no ideas. All you're doing is complaining about the guy taking the 10,000 of your followers. That's your problem. You're supposed to say, how do I beat this guy? Or how do I join him? That's the whole story. If you can't beat them, you have to join them. And you're never going to beat the priests. And you're never going to beat the corporate boys at the top, the CEO. All you got to do is work with them, help them out, be their boys. If they gain from you, you're going to gain from them. That's how you make it in the real world. If you're in Nazi Germany and Hitler said, I'm using propaganda to control all these people to make my military and do my agenda, you go against him, he's going to cut your head off. Why would you want to do that unless you want to have your head cut off? Maybe you just might be better off just joining him. If he loses the war, deny everything. Move to another country like Soviet Union and just hide. And then if the Americans come after you, well then, if they catch you, they catch you. If they don't, they don't. At least, that's how life works. If you want to make it to the top, you gotta take the risks. You gotta join the people who are at the top. But some people go, I don't want to join him because he might get me in trouble. I mean, you'll never get there then. You have to have no fear either. You have to be willing to take the risks for the highest rewards. The highest risk for the highest rewards. Small risk gives you small rewards. You play on the blackjack table, $5, you win $5 or 1.5 times if you get the blackjack. Or if you put in $10,000, you get back $10,000. My whole point is you got to take a big risk for the big reward. And in the corporate world, it takes the mind. Without the mind, you got nothing. Of course, but like I'm telling you, you can't calculate nature. If I was in the middle of a jungle and I met 50 gorillas, a clan of gorillas, and you try to reason with them, you're not getting very far. They're going to tear you up in pieces. But if you bow down and you follow customs, you follow the priestly customs, you put your head down, you take out your hand, you make sure that you relate with them. And once they relate with you, you're part of the clan. You, the scientists who say, well, I did all this study on through National Geographic to find out how monkeys behave, so I think I'm going to do better than you. You're dead. You have no clue what you're talking about. You have no feelings. You have no instincts. You don't know that the bigger male is going to rip you apart. So your instincts has to be humble and bow down. And you put your hand out. But the other guy's thinking, no, I'm going to go and reason with him. And he's going to tear you in pieces. So when you go into a corporation, don't think that, don't talk to the lower level people who want to know your technical ability. You talk to the people who don't care about that kind of stuff if you want to get there. You talk to the people who are talking about organizing. planning ahead, anticipating, building a future for their corporation. You talk like a corporate person who's selling an item. In fact, a kid in Bombay selling tea to streetcars probably has a better chance of making it in Google to the CEO level than somebody who became an engineer and knows how to crunch numbers, or an economist who knows how to crunch numbers. But that guy is brain dead. He's only good at one thing, crunching numbers. He's a scientist. He's not very smart. Don't think scientists are very smart. Overall, they're not very smart. They never get to the highest positions unless they're the founders, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. They're not going to get there, or what's that guy, Zuckerman. They're only going to get there to the highest position because they actually made it. And that's only very few people, a handful of people on the planet. The rest of the people, they have to calm their way into that game. That's what priests do. That's why priests and corporations work so well from the beginning of time. The government, priests, and the corporations. Corporations were the last ones because they came out of the Industrial Revolution. But before them, it was the government. The government ruled since, but before them, it was the religious priests that were in charge. And they've always been in charge. And they've always controlled every facet of society. And they always will, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to make it, join them. Don't fight them. You know why? Because you guys are all scared, shitless. You guys don't like change. I noticed that you guys hate change. Okay, I don't know what kind of level, I don't know what kind of job you're looking for, but I'm not looking for that type of jobs. I think we're on different boats. I'm on a big ship and you're like just floating on a boat. That's how I see it. You think small. I don't think like that. I think our community, well, I don't know how you think, but I think like I want to be in charge of the planet. You know what? Look at it this way. If I reach for the stars, I might hit the moon. You reach for what? An apple tree, and you hit the okay, see that if that's your attitude, then that's where you're going to end up in the end. So that I can't really help you on that. If you strive for nothing, you have to each his own. So I'm striving for the top, and you know what? If I don't make it to the top, and I make it to only the third highest level, man, you know how good I'm going to feel? That's amazing. But if I go to a company with 10 employees and I'm the fifth best, woo, and my salary is minimum wage also, woo. Yeah, we won't go for you if you don't go for it. And if you don't know how to make it. First of all, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking to crunch numbers, you better be good at crunching numbers. You better be the best on the planet. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. But if you're going there as a priest, they all bow down before they even come into the door. See, you just don't understand that. Because they all human beings, you don't fit the position. You talk to people on things that have absolutely nothing to do with the corporation. You talk about their feelings. You get into their minds. You get into their feelings. You find out what their weaknesses are. You find out, if you're talking to a CEO, you find out whether he got a divorce or whether his kids have sicknesses. You find out all the things that you can console them with. Once you know how to console their feelings, they will give you everything. They don't even want you to work there. They'll invite you to the yacht. You know why? Because you know what? You give them. Okay, they might have $10 billion. They don't need another $1 billion from me. What they need is for me to help them with their emotional problems, so that they don't kill themselves tomorrow. And that CEO is going to give me half his company. You really don't get the point here. That's what I want. No, you're not getting my point, because I want money. I want money to get into a corporation to get to the top level. You're not getting my point here. You know what? That's why it seems like I never got anywhere in this world. Because that wasn't just you. It was Danny. It was like years like that. Everybody in our community, and the whole community is like that. And you know, the way I see it, it's like I live in Israel, and my name is Moses, and I'm trying, and everybody's saying, no, why don't you just be like us? And I'm like, nah, I can't stand people being enslaved, and they have no rights because they were born to a different creed, a different color, a different last name. No, I think it's wrong. Like, who gives a shit? So just join the group. No, you know what? I'm gonna go fight against this. Oh well, now you got exiled. Now, look at that. Oh, you know what? Fuck off. I'm going that way because I'm exiled. I end up in a nomad. You know what? You know what? Look at it this way. When you work for a corporation and you walk around all the different departments, you start seeing that other departments don't do what you do. And in fact, they're not doing anything. In fact, they're just feeding off us because we're stupider. Because we're sitting in there crunching numbers, making all the money, and then realize that other departments are making twice what you're making, 10 times more than you're making. And you know what they're doing? They're milking you. And the guy who gets milked, if he gives advice, he's destroying other people's lives. He can't give advice because he can't even give himself advice to realize, because he doesn't even realize those guys nobody else is working in the company except there's a separate department for you and your boys, and you're working away doing all the work, and you don't even realize that you're getting milked. Why not just go join the other department? And then you find out, no. That's right. So if you're born as a slave, you have no choice but to do the jobs that slaves are delegated to do. And if you're a master and you know how to delegate people and you work with the slaves, they're just going to be resentful towards you. You're not going to go nowhere. They're not going to go nowhere. You have to leave that field and move to the position you belong to. And that's what it is. Some people can have no problem with firing 10,000 employees out of 100,000 because you know what? I'm worried about my own problem. But some guy might not be able to do that. He might not be able to sleep all night. So he's thinking, oh, well, it's not for him. That's fine. It's not for him. They hire people, of course, at the casino here. They hired, when they changed from public to private corporation, they just fired out half the staff. But before they wouldn't do it because people felt guilty. They felt bad. They're like, I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. But they just hired a new corporation. They don't know, and they don't care. Corporations don't care. Depends on your position. That's all that matters. You sign, and if you work for a corporation and you get a chance to sign a contract that's in your best interest, sign that shit. Of course. I mean, do you think if I was working for Bill Gates that he would care? If he liked me and he's like, you know what, you did a good job on, had nothing to do with technical. It reminded me of we've been living in the jungle. And just because I did something to help him out so that he can have a bigger piece of the jungle, because I organized all the big brutes and a 1,000 big monkeys, and they were able to fight for me and take over the other territory and remove all the other animals, that guy, Bill Gates will give me whatever I want. But you're like, well, you're not smart. All you did was convince those guys to go take over that land. So you're saying that's not smart? You couldn't do it. Well, look at me. I can do it with a punch numbers. I know quantum physics and theory of relativity. Why the hell are you going to use that? Nonsense. It's not how much you know. It's what you know. It's who you know. Okay. Yeah, you too. Okay, bye.